Let's move over to the running backs with the highest ranked player on the list. But the caveat is, Matthew, he's a rookie, and that's Ashton Jeanty, who right now you're going to see him taken inside the top 5 running backs. You're going to see him often taken inside the top 10 picks. But, of course, there's always risk with a guy you have never seen play at the NFL level.
And he's on the Raiders, right? I mean, right?
Sure.
So he's on the Raiders. It's an offense that we don't have a ton of high hopes for. He is a rookie, and he's also going running back 5. Consensus ranks is that he's going as running back 5. I actually have him at 4. So how much room for growth is there for Jeanty? Like, we all think he's going to be awesome, but just in terms of ride or die, he's going basically in the first round. But I will say, you could argue that, listen, there is risk involved. He's a rookie, and he's a rookie on the Raiders, and and he's going to play the Chiefs twice, good defense. He's going to play the Broncos twice, good defense. He's going to play the Chargers twice, good defense. So he's, there's some challenges there. But I think what you're really banking on is, in addition to his huge talent, right? Chip Kelly's offense has always featured the running back, right? He's had 3 seasons as a head coach at Chip Kelly when he's in the NFL, and his backfields during that time frame 4th in the NFL in fantasy points per game. They've actually been top 7 in rush attempts in 3 of his 4 years as an NFL head coach as well. And then you think about the draft capital, right? Since 2012, of the 7 running backs drafted inside the top 10, 5 of them average at least 19 touches per game. And all of those 5 finished top 7 in fantasy points per game. Barkley, Fournette, Zeke Elliott, Todd Gurley, and of course Trent Richardson. So I think the volume's going to be there. I think with Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers, there's at least signs of life for that offense in the passing game. Geno is certainly an upgrade over what they had last year, and Chip Kelly wants to play at a fast pace of play. Like, they're going to have a lot more possessions than Raiders teams in the past.
You mentioned Zeke Elliott and how he came on to, as a rookie, top 5 running back, led the league in rushing. We didn't expect much out of Dallas that year. They was going to have a 4th-round pick, Dak Prescott, start at quarterback. They went all the way to the playoffs. I think the Raiders are going to compete this year. I don't think they just going to, lay down and let the Broncos, Chiefs, and Chargers take it. But, Jeanty, too, he's been talking about, hey, I want to catch the ball more. And that's something every running back says they want to do it. Jeanty actually did it as a sophomore. 43 catches, over 500 receiving yards in college as a sophomore. He didn't do it his junior year because he was too busy running for over 2,600 yards, but he definitely has that in his bag. And when you think about a Pete Carroll team, look what he was able to do with Marshawn Lynch all those years. I see it happening early and often for Jeanty.
Connor, as a prospect, Jeanty is
as
at what level, right?
As good as it gets. I mean, every bit as good as a prospect Saquon Barkley was. Different.
Right,
obviously, Saquon had that breakaway, big threat, big playability. Jeanty, he's one of the hardest guys to tackle that I've ever evaluated. And that is a metric that typically carries over to the NFL. If you are an elite player at missed tackles force at the college level, not good, not average, elite is in one of the best we've ever seen, you're going to make guys miss. Your contact balance is going to translate to the next level. And I think this offensive line is underrated compared to public perception of it. So I'm all in on Jeanty. You are spending decent draft capital to get him, but I think he lives up to it.
Yeah, I think the Raiders will be better than people think as well. Their win total 6.5. I would take the over there. It's a brutal division, but they do have a last place schedule as well, which cushions a little bit of that. To your point, Connor, offensive line is solid. The only thing is that I wouldn't make him your pick, Matthew, because you're just not going to get the credit.
Yeah, that's the thought, right?
He's going to be RB1.
Right.
He's just
past
the threshold of
right.
bar's too high.
Correct. If I take Jeanty, then he has to finish as the number 1 running back in fantasy. He has to beat Saquon. He has to beat Bijan. Yep. He has to take Gibbs, CMC, Henry, any of the guys that potentially could finish as number 1. Or the next guy.
Yeah, this next guy, it's not that different. He's not a rookie, but the expectations are high for De'Von Achane. That's what it comes down to here, Matthew, with him, where he's basically drafted right after Jeanty, typically right in that range, in an offense that if Tyreek's healthy, the touches can get spread around, especially with Jalen Waddle as well. But we know this guy has the big playability to truly be the first or second running back when the year is done.
Look, De'Von Achane, or as he's known around these parts by some, Achane.
French pronunciation.
Yes.
In Marseille,
yeah.
by Stanford.
Look, no running back had more receptions or receiving yards last year, had an 18% target share in 2 of his 11 starts. If there's a concern of Achane, look, I mean, because we know how good he is. We know he's great out of the backfield. We know he can hold up, right? I mean, he had over 200 rushes last year as well. He was 5th among all running backs last year in fantasy points per touch. The concern, though, is anytime you're taking a running back as your ride or die, you're worried about their health. But in Achane's case, you also have to worry about the health of Tua Tagovailoa, because we saw just how much that offense fell apart last year when Tua was out, and Achane went right with him. I had Achane on my I have Achane on my dynasty team, and that last game against Cleveland was absolutely brutal. I mean, I ended up losing by like 6 points, and part of it was because Achane just did nothing against Cleveland.
And they didn't fix backup quarterback.
No.
The problem is always, well, what happens if Tua gets hurt? Zach Wilson.
So they still didn't do that, but just to be specific.
They could have had Jameis.
Seriously.
For literally cheaper.
Just to be more specific for the folks live on YouTube right now, shout out to them. Those first 4 games that Tua missed last year, De'Von Achane, who, by the way, still finished as running back 7 in fantasy points per game for the season. But in those first 4 games without Tua, running back 37, running back 53, running back 55, and running back 27.
Crazy. That
That is not who De'Von Achane is as a player, and we know that. So is Tua going to play? Then we all in there.
11 games Tua started last year. Those 11 games, Achane averaged 22.6 fantasy points per game. That would have been running back 1 last year. Again, in those 11 games, but there are legit health concerns not only with Achane but with Tua Tagovailoa. So he's number 1 running back in fantasy, is well within the range of outcomes for Achane, but also he's a risky pick for ride or die. So how much risk do I want to, am I willing to really roll the dice? I got to think about this.
I would say it's more risk than Ashton Jeanty.
Without a doubt.
Because look at the depth chart behind Ashton Jeanty, Raheem Mostert, Sincere McCormick. Those are guys who
Zamir White just getting it. Come on.
White.
Why do you hate Zamir White?
That wasn't my fantasy hero.
Yeah.
So they're going to give Ashton Jeanty a breather. But the Dolphins also, we might see more Jalen Wright. I think that, too, is what would make De'Von Achane more risky but more liable and more viable, rather, to be the ride or die.
Yeah, I think another thing is, do you want to hitch your wagon to the 2025 Miami Dolphins?
I was going to ask you that. How are they projected right now? Because there's so much volatility with them.
There's like a 500 team, 8.5, that type of range. They have the same odds to win the division as the Patriots. It just seems that there's a lot of fragility around the team between Tua's health status, between the offensive line, which hasn't really been fixed, and Achane as well. He's not built. Not sure he's built to be a workhorse running back and last the entire season. Perhaps he is. Perhaps he can surprise that, but he don't really need that, though.
He held up tougher than you would think in SEC
impressed.
play.
Yeah.
I know you watch his college game at A&M.
He's not a big guy, but he plays
tough.
In college, he used to truck dudes. Now,
Yes.
you're not going to do that in the league, but he still runs tough.
But he was playing against SEC. Like when he was at Texas A&M, I watch a lot of Texas A&M. I'm just like, Achane was, it wasn't just scat back stuff. Like, it was between the tackle stuff.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
The fragility around him is concerning.
Yes,
the
definitely.
offensive line, I have questions about. To his health, we always unfortunately have questions
There
about.
are also other ripple effects, too, where if Tirico and Waddle don't bounce back, that has a negative effect on Achane as well, just in terms of the space that he will have in that offense. So I think there are a lot of red flags around that team.
Although I will say, Jonnu Smith leaving this team, which happened during the offseason, we'll get into that. But in terms of target share, it's Tirico, it's Waddle, it's Achane. Right? It's literally going to be those 3 guys.
Yeah, and there's also, he does have RB1 in fantasy upside. I think back to 2 years ago, some of those runs against, the Giants and the Broncos, it's is this guy just the best running back in football? He just looks like he's playing a different sport. It's like Usain Bolt in Beijing.
Right.
It was just incredible to watch. Didn't really have those flashes last year, but the offense was just dreadful for stretches last season. And I worry that even if Tua misses any time at all, those weeks are a write-off in terms of being able to live up to your value.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.